You're not alone. If you need someone to talk to today, please contact Crisis Services Canada by either calling them at 1-833-456-4566 all hours of the day, or you can text them at 45645 at 4 p.m. to 12 a.m. Eastern Time. Remember, you're not alone, and Crisis Services Canada is here to help. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's edition of Coffee with Graeme on ASTV Productions. I'm your host, Graeme Forsyth. Coffee with Graeme is, of course, brought to you by AETi, Caisse Financial Group, Evolve Green, Pilot-Mound Hockey-Academy, and Tovi Hockey. So, I'm stuttering right now because I got to look into my new webcam. I got this thing from my boss, Glenn Munford, of course. Special thanks to him for picking this one up for me. And yeah, the image looking a lot clearer now at this point here so far. So it's nice to see. And it's nice to see that the green screen is back here. As you can see, I am not in the usual background that I'm usually in with the background that I've had here in the past year on Coffee with Graeme since I went away from the green screen, but finally got this new webcam, meaning that the green screen looks a lot better now, looks a lot cleaner in the background. So hopefully you guys like this new setup. Leave a like, a comment, your thoughts on it. Always like to hear what you guys think about the show here on ASTV on Coffee with Graeme. But yeah, let's get down to it here, folks. So tonight, here on the show, I'm going to have 3 guests in total joining the show. Seth Rock will not be joining the show tonight on Seth's Inside Scoop, but he will be back for next week's edition of the show on Thursday. But starting things off, it's the return of a segment that I could not bring you guys next week, but we're bringing it to you guys for tonight's episode here on Thursday. It's this edition of the Hawks Report, and I'm going to be joined by number 6 of the Pembina Valley Hawks U18 female prep team, and not female prep team, the female U18 AAA team, and Erica Fijala. She's going to come on the show to talk about the playoff series that her team is playing in right now against the Winnipeg Ice. They are currently down 2-0. So I'm going to have a chance to ask Erica about how the series has gone so far for her team in terms of how the team has been looking, as well as the preparation heading into a huge Game 3 that will be happening tomorrow night at the Bell MTS Iceplex, and some other things as well. So without further ado, let's get this edition of Coffee with Graeme started right with number 6 of the Pembina Valley Hawks in the MFHL, Erica Fijala, here on Coffee with Graeme on ASTV Productions. On this week's edition of the Hawks Report is Erica Fijala, number 6 defenseman for the Pembina Valley Hawks U18 female AAA team. Erica, the team has played 2 playoff games so far. You girls are down 2-0, but I have to ask you this first off, what it's been like so far getting to play in the playoffs once again.
Well, playoffs is just a whole nother game. It's so much fun. It's so different than a regular season game. The intensity is way higher, and everybody wants to win. Everybody needs to win. And it's been an amazing experience. And I forgot what it was like after 2 years with COVID. And I'm happy to be back in playoff hockey.
Yeah, and even though you don't have a point so far, I mean, getting to play in playoff hockey, I mean, as a defenseman, once again, truly special for not only you, but all the girls on the team and all the girls in the MFHL that do play. You girls are playing against the Winnipeg Ice, a team where, you girls were close with them in the regular season when you would play them, winning against them a few times. They beat you guys a few times. The team is down 2-0 so far. Talk about that first game, 6-1 loss, playing on the road, going into their home rink. Talk about the struggles that the team had in that game to lose 6-1.
Well, honestly, obviously Winnipeg Ice, they came to play, and we obviously didn't. Some girls maybe didn't realize what playoff hockey is like and the intensity that comes into those games. And I think a lot of nerves were in our room for sure. You could tell just the way that everybody was acting that day, that everybody was nervous, everybody was scared, but somehow we need to learn to turn those nerves into how to use them and bring them to our advantage. But obviously it was a tough game. It was not a great start, but it kind of brought us down a bit. But we had to have lose that from our memory and not think about it too much and come ready to play. But the next game, but nothing we can do about that now. We just have to come back and win 3 in a row.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And, we'll talk about the 2 games here and then, of course, talk about what the mindset will be heading into game 3 later on in this interview. But talking about, 36-27, the Ice outshot you guys in that first game. Talking about the penalties, though, you girls ended up taking 4 penalties, 8 penalty minutes to the 4 penalty minutes that the Ice took. Talk about that, running into penalty trouble in that game. Did it cost you guys at all on the board?
Honestly, I can't really remember too much how many goals they had and or on penalty kill and stuff like that. But we have a solid penalty kill. We've had a solid penalty kill all year. That's always been one of our strong suits. We have strong girl defensive side team, and that's just what it's going to come down to, is staying out of the box and making sure that we take advantage of our power plays and being strong on our penalty kills and keeping them out of our net. And
right.
That's part of the game.
Yeah, and we have seen that this year on ASTV when we have covered you girls that, you would take a lot of penalties in a game, but being able to have that strong penalty kill to kill most of those penalties, if not all of those penalties, off when we did see you, the girls Hawks team play here on ASTV. But talking about game 2, and this game wasn't played on its original date. It was canceled due to the blizzard conditions and the road conditions. How did you girls take advantage of that? Obviously, you weren't able to come away with the winning game too, but having that extra time to prepare for the next game.
Well, honestly, I think it gave us lots of time to rest and recuperate and think about what we need to do to win this next game. I know lots of girls were looking forward to play Saturday night in their home rink. It's always exciting. There's lots of fans on a Saturday, and instead we got delayed all the way till Wednesday, so that was a bit tough. And I know for some girls it's not as easy to play on a weekday. You got lots of things on your mind. You got school and all that stressfulness, but we just had to figure out a way to come to the rink and be prepared and focus on hockey.
Did you girls have a chance to practice before that game with the extra time that you had between game 1 to game 2?
No, unfortunately, with road conditions and lots of highways closed and ice, we couldn't. But on Tuesday night, we had a virtual workout. It had lots of stretches, and we did a lot of mind stuff too, actually, to get us mentally prepared for the game, and it was very helpful with our trainer, Tim.
Let's move into game 2 now. Of course, that game was played yesterday. It was a closer game, but first off, being back on home ice for the first time in the playoffs, how was that for the girls, being able to play in front of the home crowd?
Definitely being at the home rink makes such a big difference. Your home team, like the crowd and your parents watching you, and we had the guys team watching us for a bit, so they're always a good support. But everybody feels more comfortable and confident at home, I think, personally. It's our own rink. We have our horn. I'm sure you've heard it. It's very loud. And we have our announcers and music, and everything's just great, and feel more comfortable in your own bench in your own room. But I think it was good.
And speaking of the horn, happy that I didn't go deaf this year when I was at his home games, because you are right, it is very loud, but it's great that it gets you girls pumped up, of course.
Yeah.
And talking about it, 6-1 loss in the first game, but this game yesterday was much closer. 5-3 loss for you guys. The score was tied 1-1 after the first. It was 3-2 for the Ice after the second period, and the Ice scored 2 in the third. You girls scored 1 in the final frame to make it a 5-3 game final. But talk about the improvements that, in your opinion, that you saw in these girls in this game this time around yesterday.
Well, we came out to play right from the very start. We owned them in their end. We had great puck movement down low from our forwards. I thought they did an excellent job of it yesterday. I was just amazed by it. Our top line there, Abby and Maya and Cambry, they had lots of great puck movement, and it was great to see. And we came out right away to play, and they scored the first one, obviously, it's kind of tough. You always want that first one to get your feet going and get you energized, but we came back right away and we scored another one. But obviously we took 1 minute off of that game, and the start of the second, and they scored 2 quick ones in the second period, which kind of brought us down a bit. But we came back and we made it 3-3, which was great. Our bench was just like so exciting. It was just an awesome thing to experience. But we got a penalty, and that penalty kill, I guess it wasn't one of our strong ones. So they scored a quick one, and then that last one was an open net. But I think it made us girls realize how bad we want it and how devastating it is when they can come back like that. And the next game, we want to be the ones to come back and win. So I think that's what that game taught us.
Yeah, and speaking of the penalties, you girls were able to cut down the penalty minutes in this game, only taking 2 penalty minutes this time, or 4 penalty minutes, 2 penalties this time around. But the shots were a lot closer too, 30-28 in favor of the Ice. Just talk about the quality of shots that you girls were getting with the shots in this game. Obviously, not being able to win this game this time around, but dive into that.
Well, actually, that's one of our main thing that our coach was preaching to us after the game. He said, we just need to shoot. Just shoot from everywhere. Anytime you have the puck and you have a clear shot, just shoot. Like our third goal was scored by grade 9 Jessica Anderson, which is pretty exciting to be in your grade 9 year and scoring some playoff goals, I bet. And she shot from, I think it was like the hash marks on the far wall and the circles down low, and it just went 5-hole right in. So it obviously proves you just need to shoot from everywhere. And another thing our coaches have always preached to us is screening. We practice it lots in practice, and a lot of people walk away with a lot of bruises, but it's good for us. And so just shoot from everywhere. We just need to keep shooting because lots of rebounds, and we take advantage of rebounds really well as a team, I think. And I think it'll come to our advantage.
This Winnipeg Ice team has scored 11 goals in total in the 2 games that you girls have played them in the playoffs. Obviously, a team with a lot of skilled players up front. Talk about how they've been able to have such success against you girls so far when they do get the puck into your guys' zone and get their shot opportunities.
Well, they definitely have quite a few good shooters, that's for sure. I've experienced that. But they're very good in front of our net. They like to have 3 players there, and sometimes our 2 defense aren't good enough to keep those 3 players from putting the puck in the back of the net. So we need to work on our forwards coming down low and helping out. But that's always comes from defense telling them and communicating with them. Sometimes I'm guilty for that. But no, they're very good at that, and we just need to be better and make sure that we don't let them in front.
For you finished the regular season this year with 2 goals, 8 assists for 10 points in 28 games played. You have no points in the playoffs so far, but just talk about, first off, how happy you were, how pleased you were with the regular season that you had.
Well, I thought my regular season was not too bad. It was definitely a jump from my grade 9 year, seeing as I didn't get a grade 10 year, being the youngest girl on the team, and then going into this year, being one of the oldest, and it's just such difference, like how you play and the confidence too. I feel like I struggled a lot with that when I was younger, being confident, and my older sister was the captain, so I always had someone in my ear yelling at me, so that definitely didn't help as much. But it was a great season. Our team was so much fun to play with every day. You got to go to the rink was a great day, and I was really happy with the way our season went and the way I played, and I'm looking forward to keep going in playoffs.
Yeah, and how have you felt about your game from an individual standpoint so far in the playoffs in these 2 games?
Ice has been pressuring us really hard. They're playing more aggressive than they normally play, and I feel like I've kind of been letting that get to my head, but nothing I can't fix. I can always play better.
Right. Well, the season on the line tomorrow. It's win or go home from now on for you girls, and these potential next 3 games that you could have if you continue to extend the series. Obviously, looking for that first one of the series, this being the toughest game for the team that's up to win, closing the team out. With the season on the line, though, what's the mindset heading into this game tomorrow?
We just need to come to win, come mentally prepared. We need to make sure we have our shots to the net and keep our energy up on the bench. That's another thing. Our team has always been lots of praise about is that we are the loudest team, and we like to keep energy up, and we need to stay disciplined, stay out of the box, and just come to win.
I saw on the schedule that there's nothing slated for you girls tonight in terms of activities. It's a night off for this Hawks team tonight?
Yeah, it's a night for us girls just to stay home, relax, and mentally prepare. And our trainer, Tim, he recommended that maybe we do some stretches like we do usually as a team, some mind things, just anything that you do in your ritual to make you mentally prepared.
Obviously, you girls are going to go into the Ice's home rink at the Bell MTS Iceplex. Obviously, it might be a hostile environment. I'm not too sure what type of crowd is going to be out there tomorrow. But, what's that feeling like, going into a game 3, not having the home side on your guys' side, having that home crowd, but rather playing in the Ice's home rink this time around?
Well, Winnipeg's definitely a drive for the legs. It's kind of hard to bounce back and go play a whole hockey game. But personally, I've always liked playing in the Iceplex. I've played lots of spring hockey there, so it necessarily doesn't really feel like an away game or like the Ice's home rink. I just think of it as the Iceplex, and I always liked playing at the Iceplex. Love the rink. They're always big, so lots of space to do lots of different things. So I'm excited to play there.
Yeah, it's a pretty sweet facility. I mean, you got the 4 rinks, some training centers in there, and a restaurant as well. So it's a pretty sweet facility. But talk about the lineup situation. Obviously, Emily Foster out right now with an injury. Has she been the only one out of the lineup? Besides her, have you girls had a full lineup these playoffs?
Yeah, so far we've been having a full lineup. We just Emily out. We're definitely missing her though. 5D we haven't pulled anybody up or anybody back from forward, so we have our strong 5D, and we're sticking with it. We do a 5D man rotation, and we definitely miss her, though.
Yeah, we'll try to win one for Emily tomorrow and try to extend the season here and keep it going. Great to have you on the Hawks Report for another edition, as this is your second time joining the report, Erica. Thanks for doing this, and best of luck to you and the girls tomorrow trying to keep it going.
Thank you.
That was number 6 of the Pembina Valley Hawks U18 AAA female team in the MMJHL. Erica Fijala joining the show here on this Thursday night on the Hawks Report. Of course, the Hawks in a 2-0 hole, their season on the line tomorrow night at the Bell MTS Iceplex as they go up against the Winnipeg Ice in Game 3 of their first round series. So coming up after this commercial break, it's going to be the Pilot-Mound Hockey-Academy interviews that I do here on these Thursday night episodes, and I'm going to have 2 girls joining me here, both playing on the same team, of course, in Pilot-Mound for Pilot-Mound Hockey-Academy. Hailey Hojnocki and Natasha Wierzbicki joining the show next to talk about their first season in Pilot-Mound and how it's been so far. You're watching Coffee with Graeme on AETi Productions. Stick around for more after this commercial break.
Why go solar? Solar is better than ever. Our revolutionary design and inverter equipment with the latest in solar panel technology for the ultimate in-home and business security. That's right, I said security. Grid security and security of your home are linked. Fortify your future today with a battery backup system. No maintenance, quiet running. Did you know in Manitoba, grid-connected, off-grid, and battery backup systems are 100% right off in the year you purchase for any company or farm? Do you want to back up your internet, keep your tills running, and the lights on? We can install a system that is right for you with battery backup fully capable of taking on all those essential loads and keeping you running. When you call our experts at Evolve Green, ask about getting your free energy audit today. Call or email today to find out what system works best for you. 1-866-5-EVOLVE. Or support@evolvegreen.ca. Also, be sure to check out our website at www.evolvegreen.ca.
Welcome back to Coffee with Graeme on ASTV Productions. Erica Fijala, number 6 of the Pembina Valley Hawks, U18 female AAA team in the MFHL, joined the show here on the Hawks Report to start things off. Of course, Erica, defenseman for the Pembina Valley Hawks, and their team in a 2-0 hole right now in their playoff series, first-round playoff series against the Winnipeg Ice. Of course, those two teams going at it tomorrow for Game 3 in Winnipeg at the Bell MTS Iceplex. But welcome back to the show, everybody. Unfortunately, for tonight's Pilot-Mound Hockey-Academy interview part of this episode tonight, Natasha Wierzbicki will not be joining the show due to some technical difficulties on her side of things. So hoping to have Natasha on the show coming up tomorrow. And I was also supposed to have Landon May and Liam Tatuni on tonight's show, but they're currently traveling to the destination they're playing at this weekend. But I do have one player that is still going to be joining the show here tonight. It is number 19 of the Pilot-Mound Hockey-Academy Buffaloes U18 prep female team, Hailey Hojnocki. Hailey, how is the sounding on your side of things? Are you able to hear me all right?
Yeah, it's all good.
Okay, sounds good, because we've been having a lot of technical difficulties here in the past 3 weeks with the players from Pilot-Mound. But great to have you on the show. This is your first year in Pilot-Mound Hockey-Academy. Obviously, the regular season almost coming to an end here, but how has it been, the experience this year in your first year playing Academy hockey?
Oh, I just love it. It's just a really good experience, I think, like just being on the ice every day and just the education aspect of it and living with all these girls. I really like it.
Has that been what's been your favorite part of the experience so far? Obviously, a lot of things that you've enjoyed so far. Would you say that being on the ice, getting that opportunity to be on the ice every single day, has been up there in terms of your favorite part of the experience?
Oh yeah, definitely. It's just you can see so much more improvement with being on the ice every single day compared to being on the ice 2 times a week with your AAA practices. So I just think it's much better.
Yeah, you were playing in the MFHL last season for a short stint, of course, making that move out to play with Pilot-Mound Hockey-Academy this year. How do you find out about the Academy and what drew you to them? Obviously, the things that they offer, obviously, I feel like it is a big part of why you joined Pilot-Mound, but how do you find out about them?
Sorry, what was the question? It's really cutting out.
Okay. We'll see if we can get through this interview if we're able to. But how do you find out about Pilot-Mound Hockey-Academy? When you were able to first make that move to commit to there.
Well, when I was in like grade 8, I had provincials in Crystal City, which is like 5 minutes or whatever from Pilot-Mound. So we stayed in the hotel here. And then just for like an activity to do, our team went on a tour of the rink and all the facilities and everything. And I was like thinking like, wow, it'd be so cool. And then like 3 years later, they emailed me and I sat and I considered it for a second. I was like, yeah, like that'd be pretty awesome to do. And then I ended up here. Like I signed really late in August. Like it was a really late decision. I really didn't think I was going to come here. I definitely thought I was just going to play AAA again, but I'm happy that I did come here.
Yeah, so a late decision that ended up leading you to play with Pilot-Mound this season in your first season with the Academy. Talk about what it's been like being away from home being with the girls pretty much every single day, 24/7, what that experience has been like?
It's pretty good, actually. And I live pretty close to here, and I have, like, most of my family lives down here. So it really hasn't felt like I've moved away like that much. Like, I still see my family basically every weekend. Like, they come to all of our games. And so that hasn't been too tough. But I really like living with all the girls. Like, it's pretty fun. Like, I can just leave my room right now and go see anybody on the team that I want. Like, so that's a pretty neat experience to have.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Just neat that you're able to have that access to see the girls anytime you want, which is great. What's it been like being able to bond with this group this season? Obviously, there's been a lot of struggles as a team, but things have gotten better in terms of the scores in the games as the season has gone along. But what's that bonding aspect been like this season, getting to bond with these girls?
It's been pretty good. I think we struggled a little bit at the beginning just with, like, I don't know, probably we were kind of sick of each other, but then we realized, like, oh, we're pretty lucky to actually be together all the time, and we're starting to figure it out more now, I think, but it's pretty good.
Obviously, transitioning from another league, there could be differences in terms of the level of play. How have you found that the level of play in the CSSHL is compared to the places you played at before when you were playing AAA hockey?
Well, I really only played, like, I think it was 5 games of AAA hockey, and I really didn't get that much ice time. Like, it was my first year. I didn't even get a AAA experience. I don't really count it as anything. Like,
Right.
it wasn't, like, we had a few practices after, and but they weren't even real practices because of COVID. We had to, like, all distance and whatever. Like, I don't really count it. And then being here, like, I consider it my first year of U18, really, because last year just, wasn't really anything.
I guess I'll rephrase the question. How is this experience of playing like academy hockey in the CSSHL compared to, the levels you played at before, the places you played at before in hockey?
Well, I think it's just awesome because we get to go, like, we just got back from being in Penticton, BC. So, like, that's pretty awesome. And then 2 weeks or 3 weeks ago, whatever it was, we were in Delta. So you wouldn't get those experiences with AAA hockey either. Like, just, it's really good. I do like the traveling. Sometimes it's tough, but it's pretty fun, like, being on the bus with all the girls, and yeah.
Yeah, of course, you girls had a chance to go down to Penticton last weekend to play, and you've been to many other places this year, like you said, going to Delta, BC. What's that been like getting to, travel with this team? Obviously, you said it gets a bit tough sometimes, but getting to see, different places across the country.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we got to fly to Delta, so that was really cool. Like, just getting to be on a plane with your whole team. Plus, St. Mary's was on our plane too, so 2 teams. But I usually get really car sick on the bus, so that's kind of tough sometimes. But this past weekend I, like, took some extra strong medicine and whatever, so I was feeling pretty good because it was a 20-hour bus ride and mountains too. But I feel like we really bonded as a team this past bus ride, so I like it.
Yeah, great to hear that you were able to, figure out a way not to feel car sick, on the way down on the 20-hour bus trip. So, looking at your season this year, 37 total games played, including like tournaments, exhibition, and regular season. You got 13 goals, 9 assists for 22 points. Obviously, your goal scoring ability has been on display this year with 13 goals. You're up there in terms of most goals for, who has the most goals on this team. Talk about just your goal scoring ability, how it's been this year compared to other years.
I'd say it's about the same for other years. Like, that's about the average amount of points I get. I felt like for the past 2 weekends, I've just been in a scoring slump. Like, all I could do was just hit wherever the goalie was, I was hitting her. And then finally in the last period of our last game, I finally started to get some, like, scoring luck. But that's kind of just a tough thing to get through, like, just your slumps, and you got to fight through and just try as hard as you can.
How nice was that to get your the monkey off your back, scoring that goal after not scoring in a while in your last game that you guys played in Penticton?
It was pretty good. I was pretty frustrated that it took me that long to do it. Like, I had just had chance after chance in all of our games, and so I was getting pretty fed up, but it felt pretty good to finally put the puck in the net.
Your game this season, obviously getting to play a lot of games, 37 so far. Talk about just the progression that you felt that you've seen in your game, as the season has gone along with the Buffaloes.
It's just been crazy. Like, I started off our first tournament in Portage, I want to say. I was like left wing. I was just playing like just regular shifts. But then I want to say like our second or third weekend, whatever it was, he's like, have you ever tried center? And I did play center when I was younger, but had been a while, so I tried it and I liked it. And then eventually it just ended up like girls getting hurt and people leaving and whatever, like that. Me and Katie Lacoste, number 20, me and her are just the two centers now basically, and we just double shift. So it's crazy to go from just playing left wing and like playing every third shift to being out for 30 minutes of the game.
Yeah, double shift in. Of course, you're one of the two centers that is playing on this team at this point, like you said. What's that adjustment been like, just in terms of getting more ice time as the season has gone along, but also just going to a position that you weren't too familiar with, heading into this season?
Well, you just got to do what you have to do for the team. Just play whatever position they want you to do and just do the best thing for the team. And double shifting, it's kind of hard. After, like the first game of the weekend, you're like, oh, it's it's tough, but then you get used to it. Like, it's just whatever. Like, you go out there and do what you have to do.
Is there any parts of your game that you feel have, developed this season that might have not been as strong in past years?
Definitely my shot. My shot's still not the strongest. I think it could still use some improvement, but it has definitely gotten stronger just with shooting so much every single day. And I think my skating as well, like just confidence with the puck and just figuring out what to do with it and finding where my teammates are. I feel like just all of my areas of hockey have improved since coming here.
Yeah, it's great to hear that the experience for you so far has been paying off. The team this season in CSSHL regular season play is last place in the league, 4-18, 1-0-0-1, 52 goals for the team, 114 goals against, which both rank last in the league. But like I said earlier on, and I feel like you'd agree with this, as the games as the season has gone along have come in terms of the results a lot closer. Just talk about how nice that's been to see the improvement throughout this team within the whole team this season, to see that you guys have improved.
Yeah, it's really good to see. Like, just when we played rink, RHA Winnipeg, our first game, I think it was like 11-3, and then we went to Calgary and we beat them. And we haven't been able to beat them since, but our games have been quite a bit closer, not as much of a blowout, and yeah, just better, I think.
Yeah, and you girls will have a chance to get to play RHA, the Winnipeg team, coming up on Wednesday, coming up next week on March 2nd. But let's talk about the last weekend, getting to travel to Penticton, BC. That is where the team is going to be playing in the playoffs coming up. How cool is it to see the place where you girls are going to be playing in the playoffs this season?
It was really awesome. Like, just we were walking outside and like basically no jackets on. Like, we could wear what we wanted, and we walked to the rink because our hotel was so close, and we got our bus to drive over our bags. So we were just walking to play our hockey game through the mountains. So it was pretty cool to do that.
Yeah, that's pretty surreal, and must be a nice change of pace from going from like minus 39, minus 40 plus weather to being able to not even wear a jacket down there. Yeah, for sure. Looking at it, you girls had a chance to play 4 games in total, winning the last one 7-5 against Delta Hockey Academy's U17 prep team, but losing 3 close ones. Obviously, I would like to come out on the other side of things and put one in the win column, but how nice was it to have this type of weekend going up against these teams, making it close in 3 of the games and being able to win 7-5 against Delta Academy's U17 team?
It was pretty good. Like, that, I don't think our team's ever scored 7 goals, so we were just really on fire that game for just putting the puck in the net. But those close games were pretty tough because we really thought, like, we knew we could beat those teams. We know we can beat them. So that was tough. Like, losing in the shootout, that one hurt. And then 4-3 and 2-0, that one was tough because no one scored at all. But yeah, I don't know. Just need to push a little bit harder.
One last weekend of games coming up for the team on March 5th and 6th against St. Mary's. Of course, a game coming up this Wednesday at home. Next week against RHA Winnipeg. Both those home games coming up next weekend are going to be played on the weekend as well. Being back at home, how nice is that going to be for the girls? Being able to play the last few regular season games of the season in the home rink.
I think it'll be pretty good. I don't know. I seem to struggle with home games because we barely have any and we're on the road so much. So it's kind of hard to get in the zone, I think, when we're at home because we're so used to just practicing here and just like living our lives here. But when we go on the road, it's just like we know it's game time. So it's easy to get into the zone because we're not at home. We don't have that many distractions. But yeah, when we play here, I find it's a little bit harder and then it's a little bit more pressure because of all the people watching and like these people. So I hope we do good for our home games, but yeah.
What's going to be the goal for the team, in your opinion, heading into these last 3 games of the season? Of course, last 3 games before playoffs starting. Obviously, looking to finish off the season on a high note, but going up against 2 good teams in these 3 matchups. What's that mindset going to be heading into these 3 games coming up to finish the regular season?
I can say my mindset's just going to be try your very hardest to win. I really want to beat these girls, so don't want them to end their season with wins too. But yeah, just do everything you can to beat them.
Well, we'll have to wait and see to find out what's going to happen in these 3 games coming up for the team. Hailey Hojnocki, number 19 of the Pilot-Mound Hockey-Academy U18 prep female team, joining the show here on this Thursday night edition of Coffee with Graeme. Hailey, keep enjoying your time at the Academy. Best of luck to the team moving forward in this season, and have yourself a great rest of your night.
Thanks, you too.
Thanks. Hailey Hojnocki here, number 19, now a center, not just a forward, a centerman for Pilot-Mound Hockey-Academy. And, some of my questions struggled a bit there because, there was, I don't know why I struggled sometimes wording my questions tonight. Just one of those nights here on the network. But, yeah, it sucks. I'm going to be frank. It sucks that the technical difficulties have been piling up for, when I've had to have a chance to have these players from Pilot-Mound here on the show, just with the internet connection. But that's just the way it goes here in the age of the internet interviews here that we do here on ASTV Productions. Sometimes this stuff happens. But coming up after the commercial break, next I'm going to be coming back to give you guys an edition of League Report, talking about the past and upcoming games, the past results and the upcoming games for the leagues in the MFHL, the Saskatchewan Female U18 AAA Hockey League, the MMJHL, the Zone 4 High School Hockey League, the Winnipeg High School Hockey League, the Winnipeg Women's High School Hockey League. There's one more, the Manitoba AAA U18 Hockey League. Here, coming up on Coffee with Graeme on ASTV Productions. Stick around for more after this commercial break.
Welcome to Pilot-Mound Hockey-Academy, your world-class academic and hockey training facility created to maximize each student's athletic and academic potential. Blackjack Stewart Arena, home of the Buffalo, is inside the 46,000 square foot complex, as well as a curling rink and other facilities. The students have a unique combination of successful, well-rounded education at Pilot-Mound Collegiate Institute and the professional hockey training in an encouraging community. The years of experience of Ice coaching propel our students to the next level, both mentally and physically, in a professional environment.
Welcome back to Coffee with Graeme here on ASTV Productions. Hailey Hojnocki, number 19 of the Pilot-Mound Hockey-Academy, Buffalo's U18 prep female program, joined me here on the show. Most recently to talk about her first season with the Buffaloes in Pilot-Mound. Was supposed to have defenseman number 29 Natasha Wierzbicki on the show as well, or Wierzbicki as I should pronounce it, but ran into some internet difficulties with her. Hoping to have her on the show coming up next week. But welcome back to the show, everybody. Of course, I mentioned it, I believe, at the start of this episode, if I'm not mistaken, but I'll mention it again. No Seth's Inside Scoop this week. No games on the network as well for in terms of hockey. So taking the week off for Seth's Inside Scoop for this week, but Seth will be joining the show, and Seth's Inside Scoop will be returning coming up next week here on the network here on Thursday night, come this time 7 days from now. So yeah, one thing that is interesting, though, something that I don't believe has ever happened here on ASTV, is that we will be at the Pan Am pool here in Winnipeg, Manitoba, to broadcast some provincial swim meets. So stay tuned for that on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And to be honest, not really looking forward to the Saturday and Sunday meets for one reason only, and that is because I got to be up way early because I'm going to be announcing the swimming. And we're going to be starting at 7 a.m. on both Saturday and Sunday. So I'm going to have to be up at about 5 a.m. And for those who know me, I'm not really a morning person. I don't really like to get up early, and I don't really get up early. But I guess that I'll have to get up early coming up this Saturday and Sunday. So it should be a blast at the Pan Am pool. But it is time now for tonight's edition of League Reports here on ASTV Productions edition of Coffee with Graeme, and lots to talk about tonight, adding in a league to talk about as well, since I do cover AAA hockey. Going to be talking about the Manitoba AAA U18 Hockey League here coming up later on in League Report. But let's start off with talking about the first league that is going to pop up here in my background right away on my green screen. As you can see here by the background, if you can tell, I'm going to be talking about the MFHL first off. So just got to share the screen here, and then we can get started with talking about one result that is coming in the league since the last time that I've done League Report. But getting into it here, let's just make the screen a bit bigger, and then I can get started. So you can see here the standings for the Yellowhead Chiefs, the Winnipeg Avros, and the Westman Wildcats, as well as the Central Plains Capitals, Interlake Lightning, and Eastman Selects. Their records have not changed. Of course, the only two teams that have been eliminated so far from the playoffs in the MFHL have been the Interlake Lightning and the Eastman Selects. Central Plains and Westman, they have not been able to play their Game 3 yet. Their Wednesday game yesterday, that was supposed to be game 3 of that series ended up getting canceled due to the road conditions once again. So they will be going tomorrow night in Hartney for game 3. But as you can see here, there has been a change in the Winnipeg Ice's record as they ended up playing against the Pembina Valley Hawks in game 2 last night in Morden, Manitoba, of course. Talked about this game earlier on here in the show on the Hawks Report, but I'm going to show you guys the score anyways. As you can see here, the Winnipeg Ice ended up winning in a close one, 5-3 over the Pembina Valley Hawks, putting them into a 2-0 hole. So coming up tomorrow night for the 4 teams remaining in the first round that have to play games, as you can see here at 7 p.m., it will be the Pembina Valley Hawks traveling to Winnipeg, Manitoba, to play at the Bell MTS Iceplex to play against the Winnipeg Ice in the game 3 of that series. Depending on what happens, if the Winnipeg Ice are able to end the series, they will be moving on to the next round. But if Pembina Valley is able to beat them, well, they will extend that series to game 3, and it could very well happen. You know, these teams have been close in terms of their season series, in terms of their record, so it will be interesting to see. So looking at the Central Plains Capitals and Westman Wildcats, their game 3, hoping that one finally gets played. These girls have not played in a very long time in their series, but game 3 is set to happen tomorrow, puck dropping at 7:30 p.m. in Hartney in game 3 of the Westman Wildcats and Central Plains Capitals series. Now, say that Central Plains and the Winnipeg Ice are able to extend the series. Well, the Winnipeg Ice, we'll start off with this actually, looking at it. So if the Central Plains Capitals are able to win tomorrow, assuming that game finally gets played for the game 3 of that series, then it would be a game at the BDO Center for the Community at 4:45 p.m. tomorrow, or on Saturday, sorry, if the Central Plains Capitals are able to extend the series. Now, looking at the Winnipeg Ice and the Pembina Valley Hawks, if Pembina Valley is able to win tomorrow night, then they will have a home game in Morden, Manitoba on Sunday at 2:30 p.m. playing against the Winnipeg Ice, if that series does end up going to a game 4. And then also, well, I guess the game 5s have not been scheduled yet because they haven't even gone to that point. But here on Coffee with Graeme, coming up on Tuesday next week on that edition of League Report, I will be able to tell you guys about the results, hopefully, if these games end up being played. Hoping, fingers crossed, that these teams in the MFHL that are remaining in the first round are able to finally get some games in here that have been postponed for a very long time. So moving in now to the Saskatchewan Female U18 AAA Hockey League. Let's get the background here and let's get into it. So taking a look at it, zooming in a bit more. So on Tuesday, February 22nd, the Saskatoon Stars ended up winning 5-4 in overtime over the Prince Albert Northern Bears. On Wednesday, the game that happened yesterday in the league, the only game that happened in the league yesterday, the Regina Rebels on the road in their final regular season game of the year, winning 3-2 over the Notre Dame Hounds. A huge win for Regina, as Notre Dame Hounds is right on their tail for that first place spot. A win like this might help Regina in terms of helping them secure that first place spot in the league. But coming up tonight, a game that is already underway in the league, the Notre Dame Hounds traveling to Saskatoon to play the Saskatoon Stars, and that's the only game for Thursday that is happening. The league will not have any games until Saturday coming up, and it's the Battleford Sharks going to the Art Hauser Center, playing the Prince Albert Northern Bears at 7 p.m. on Saturday, and at 8 p.m. on Saturday in Swift Current's final game of the season, the Wildcats traveling to the Duncan McNeil Arena in Wilcox, Saskatchewan to play against the Notre Dame Hounds. 2 games on the schedule for Sunday in the league. The Battleford Sharks going to the Art Hauser Center to play against the Prince Albert Northern Bears once again for the second game out of the 2 games that these teams are playing, coming up this weekend at 1:30 p.m. And then later on Sunday at 6:30 p.m., the Notre Dame Hounds playing against the Weyburn Goldwings at Crescent Point Place. And looking at the rest of the league, the rest of the schedule, they finally got the March schedule up here. The final game of the regular season in the Saskatchewan Female U18 AAA Hockey League will be played on Tuesday, March 1st, coming up next week against the Notre Dame Hounds and Saskatoon Stars. Puck drops on that game at 7 p.m. And then, of course, you can see here the playoffs will be starting. There's already one matchup set in stone that is set to take place coming up next Saturday on March 5th. Against the Swift Current Wildcats, the third place team in the league, battling it out against the Battleford Sharks, who are the sixth place team in the league. Moving into the MMJHL now, taking a look at a game that is being played tonight. It is currently taking place at the St. Vital Centennial Arena. It's the St. Vital Junior Victorias on a one-game losing streak. Up 2-1 currently over the number one team in the league of the St. James Junior Canucks. Of course, the Junior Canucks looking to extend their win streak to 6 games if they are able to win tonight, but currently down 2-1 to the St. Vital Junior Victorias. Taking a look at the games that have come before this game tonight, though. Looking at the February schedule here. So, looking at Tuesday's action on February 22nd, it was the, I got to do something here. I got to change my background, folks, because we're not talking about the Saskatchewan Female U18 AAA Hockey League anymore, but rather, there we go, the MMJHL, the Manitoba Major Junior Hockey League. The Manitoba Major Junior Hockey League. So let's get down to business here and talk about these games. So the River East Royal Knights on Tuesday ended up winning 6-1 over the Fort Garry Twins, keeping themselves up in the standings over the Fort Garry Twins with that win. Of course, I think it wouldn't even have mattered. I think River East would still be ahead of them, if I'm not mistaken, if they did lose that game, but keeping even more of a distance between them and Fort Garry for the spot that the Royal Knights are in at this point. But the Charleswood Hawks with a huge win over the St. Vital Junior Victorias on Tuesday night as well. 6-2 was the final in that one. And then looking at yesterday's action, the Raiders Junior Hockey Club with a 10-3 win over the St. Boniface Riels. Now, taking a look at what is on tap coming up here in the MMJHL. We'll go back to the home screen here. So the game being played tonight, the St. Vital Junior Victorias, of course, up 2-1 over the St. James Junior Canucks, but there's going to be a quadruple header happening tomorrow night on Friday in the league. It's going to be the Pembina Valley Twisters heading to Erica Arena to play against the Charleswood Hawks. Both teams on a win streak right now. Pembina Valley on a 6-game win streak and Charleswood on a 4-game win streak. Both teams, of course, looking to keep it going tomorrow night. The Stonewall Jets on a 4-game losing streak, playing against the St. Vital Junior Victorias tomorrow night at the Stonewall Veterans Memorial Arena at 7:30 p.m. And then it's going to also be the Raiders Junior Hockey Club playing against the St. Boniface Riels at the Seven Oaks Sportsplex at 7:30 p.m. tomorrow. And then the game that's going at 7:45 p.m., 2 top teams in the MMJHL battling it out against the Transcona Railer Express and the St. James Junior Canucks at Keith Bodley Arena. There will be no action in the MMJHL coming up on Saturday on the 26th, but there will be plenty of games that will be played on Sunday, 4 to be exact. So the St. James Junior Canucks will be going to Southdale Arena to play against the St. Boniface Riels at 4 p.m. At 7 p.m., the Transcona Railer Express going to Pembina Valley to play the Twisters at 7. The Raiders Junior Hockey Club and the Fort Garry Twins will play at Century Arena at 7:30 p.m. on Sunday. And then the other 7:30 p.m. game that will be happening on Sunday night will be the Charleswood Hawks going to Terry Sawchuk Arena to play against the River East Royal Knights. And there will be one game that will be played on Monday, just looking at the schedule here, the St. Vital Junior Victorias at home This game is rescheduled from a game that was supposed to happen way back, but they rescheduled it for now. Of course, you can see here this game was originally supposed to be played on September 23rd. It's the Victorias going up against the St. Boniface Riels at 7:30 p.m. at the St. Vital Centennial Arena. Now let's take a look at the standings here just to show you guys the teams. I'll do it for this because I did say something that was not true in terms of, well, I don't know, but taking a look at it, yes, the River East Royal Knights with that win over the Fort Garry Twins, they are now 5 points ahead of them in the standings. Of course, Fort Garry, the number 8 seeded team at this point in the season, looks like they will lock up that last playoff spot as well at this point in the season, just in terms of the records of the Stonewall Jets and St. Boniface Riels behind them. But St. James, the Junior Canucks, of course, still the first place team in the league. The Pembina Valley Twisters, the second place team in the league. For Transcona, the Railer Express, they will have 2 huge games coming up this weekend between both the St. James Junior Canucks and the Pembina Valley Twisters. Of course, Transcona looking to climb back into that second place spot in the MMJHL. Taking a look at the Zone 4 High School Hockey League now. Taking a look at it. So the first round is complete in the league. The PCI Trojans ended up sweeping the GVSD hockey team 2-0 in their series, as it was reported last time. The Carmen Cougars winning in a 2-0 series win over the Morris Mavericks. The WC Miller Aces won over the Morden Thunder in a 2-0 series win for them, a 2-0 series sweep, 2 close games in that series. And the Mountain Mustangs will not repeat as the champions this year in the Zone 4 High School Hockey League, as the Pembina Tigers ended up beating them in a close one on Tuesday night in Pilot-Mound, Manitoba, 3-2 to sweep them in that series. I'm not too sure why it only says that the Tigers are leading that series 1-0, but they've moved on. So really one upset that has happened so far in terms of the seeding, the Tigers winning over the Mountain Mustangs. Their series against the PCI Trojans, sorry, not the PGI, the PCI Trojans, kicks off tonight. The game is already underway. It started at 7:30. And then if for game 2, that will go on Saturday night at 7 p.m. And if there is a game 3, that will be happening on Sunday, February 27th at 12:30 p.m. The Carmen Cougars and the WC Miller Aces have already started their semifinal series. The first game of that series happened yesterday on Wednesday, and it saw the Carmen Cougars winning in a close battle, 3-2 in OT over the WC Miller Aces. The Aces season on the line tomorrow night at 8 p.m. as if the Cougars are able to win that series, they will move on to the championship series for this year's Zone 4 High School Hockey League finals, a chance for the Cougars to play for a championship. But if the Aces are able to extend the series, the final game of that series, game 3, will happen on Saturday, February 26th at 7 p.m. I don't know why there's asterisks. I'm not sure if I said that right, but if I pronounced that right, but I'm not sure why there's 2 asterisks beside the 7 p.m. Time here for game 3, but guess we'll have to wait and see. Oh, it says if necessary. My apologies. I should have read that. It was right below the scores for that series, the games for this series. But yeah, the Zone 4 High School Hockey League going to have the final set after this weekend in that league. So moving on now into talking about the Winnipeg High School Hockey League. And oh my goodness, folks, I left the Manitoba Major Junior Hockey League logo up in the background. It's my first time using the green screen in a while, so I will definitely remember to change it next time to this rather than this one. I'm talking about the Zone 4 High School Hockey League. But let's move on now into another high school hockey league, the Winnipeg High School Hockey League. And let's take a look at the latest scores and what's been happening in the playoffs. So taking a look at the A division, I'm not going to be showing anything on screen for this because I only have this information on my notes app here on my MacBook. But taking a look at the A division, of course, you guys can check these stats out if you want to see everything that's happening in the Winnipeg High School Hockey League at WHSHL.com. But I'm going to give you guys the rundown on what's been happening. Starting off with the A division. So the A division semifinals started on February 22nd, so on Tuesday. And it was the Westwood team beating the Vincent Massey team 6-1 in game one. Westwood went up 1-0 in that series. Sturgeon Heights ended up matching up against the St. Paul's number one team in the A division semifinals, and St. Paul's number one ended up winning the first game 3-2 in that series over Sturgeon Heights, and St. Paul's led the series at that point 1-0. They played again yesterday, and it was St. Paul's with a commanding 6-1 lead over Sturgeon Heights to advance to the next round with a 2-0 series win. And of course, looking at the standings, St. Paul's, the number one team in the whole A division, the Platinum Promotions division. So definitely living up to that number one seed that they got this year. And for the Westwood team, they are the third ranked team in the Platinum Promotions division. Of course, they're going up against the Vincent Massey team in their series, and Vincent Massey is the number two team in the league. So Westwood, the number three team, looking for an upset in that series over Vincent Massey in terms of the seeding. But taking a look at the Winnipeg Free Press B division playoff action now, and looking at February 22nd, the games that happened on that day, it was the Sanford team losing 4-3 to Springfield. Springfield going up in that series 1-0 on Tuesday. College Belleville won 4-1 over the St. John's Ravens Court team on Tuesday. Belleville led their series at that point 1-0. And looking at the games that happened yesterday, there was another series that ended up starting. It was the Powerview Sag King team losing 8-5 over Stonewall. Stonewall ended up, of course, leading the series after that 1-0. Looking at the game twos in the B division playoffs in the Winnipeg High School Hockey League playoffs in the Winnipeg Free Press division, it was the West Kildonan team winning 6-4 over the Windsor Park team, and West Kildonan ended up winning that series 2-0 to advance. Sanford and Springfield played again yesterday, and it was Sanford winning 4-2, so that series is now tied up at 1. And for the College Belleville Barracudas, they ended up winning in a shootout 4-3 over the St. John's Ravenscourt team to advance to another semifinals. This will be College Bellevue's 7th straight semifinals appearance, I believe, which is pretty crazy. And I will say one thing, gotta knock the Winnipeg High School Hockey League here. Why decide the playoffs, the series like this, like in a shootout? Why decide a game like this? Why not just play continuous OT? I do understand that there is a schedule that the rinks have to keep, but, deciding a playoff series like this in a shootout, when there's a lot on the line for a team, especially in the St. John's Ravens court, not the best way to decide a playoff series or a playoff game, in my opinion. But it's the way it is in College Belleville, advancing to the semifinals once again. Now, taking a look at the C division, the Price division, they have started their playoffs, and it started up yesterday. It was Leo Remillard. So just to let you guys know, Leo Remillard, the number 1 team in this Price division, which is the C division, they matched up against the number 8 team, College Louis Riel, in the first round. And for Leo Remillard, a commanding 11-3 win in the first game to go up 1-0 in that series. Transcona and Pinawa. Transcona finishing as the 5th place team. Pinawa finishing as the 4th place team. Both teams going at it for the first time in the playoffs yesterday. It was Transcona, the number 5 seed, winning 5-2 over Pinawa. Transcona took the 1-0 series lead with that win. The Fort Richmond team, who ended up finishing 7th place in the league, matched up against the John Taylor team, who is the 2nd seed. John Taylor winning 5-2 to take a 1-0 series lead. Talking about another game one that happened, and this happened yesterday. It was Pierre Elliott Trudeau, who was the 6th place team in the league, going up against Murdoch McKay, and Murdoch McKay being the 3rd place team, well, with a strong performance in the first game, 6-1 win to go up 1-0 in that series. There were 3 game 2s that were played yesterday. It was Leo Remillard winning 6-3 over the College Louis Riel team. Leo Remillard is off into the next round, advancing after winning that series 2-0. John Taylor, the number 2 team in the league, beating the Fort Richmond team 3-1 as John Taylor is moving on to the next round. And for Pinawa and Transcona, well, there will be a game 3. Pinawa winning 7-4 yesterday over Transcona. That series now tied at 1 apiece. So coming up next week on Tuesday on Coffee with Graeme, I will be able to update you guys on all of the other playoff scores that will be coming in after the weekend, and I'll be updating you guys on Tuesday of what the playoffs are looking like in terms of the scores in the Winnipeg High School Hockey League. Now let's take a look now at the Winnipeg Women's High School Hockey League. Got a search here, and I will also remember to change my background this time around. Let's see here. One second, folks. I just got to find the playoffs and what has been happening so far. So there have been games that have been played so far in the Winnipeg Women's High School Hockey League. So let's share the screen here and take a look. This is a bit confusing, but we'll try to do the best I can here to report on this. Yeah, this can be seen pretty clearly. So you can see here that looking at the qualifying rounds, what's the information here. So all games are to be played this week from February 22nd on Tuesday to tomorrow on Friday, and teams 1 to 6 have a bye. This is the top division in the Winnipeg Women's High School Hockey League, by the way. I see now that the scores are being a bit cut off. So let's see. Yeah, I think this is a lot better. So as you can see here, I will say right off the bat that I do like the way that the Winnipeg Women's High School Hockey League website does have their playoffs information laid out to show you the seeding and stuff. So yeah, the home team, I assume, is the number 1 team. Not the number 1 team, but the higher ranked teams. So as you can see here in the qualifying round in the CTV division, which is the top division in the league, it was the Vincent Massey Trojans winning 3-2 in a shootout over the Miles Mack Buckeyes. And then the Trojans ended up finishing off Miles Mack's season 2-0 yesterday. So Vincent Massey, the 7th seed in the CTV division, moving on to the next round. Looking at the number 8 team, the Oak Park Raiders going up against the Churchill Bulldogs, and it was the Churchill Bulldogs winning 3-2 in game 1 in Eric Coy, and then the Churchill Bulldogs and Southdale West in that arena ended up losing 4-3 to Churchill. So the Bulldogs moving on to the next round. Let's take a look at the other rules here. So all games are going to be played between February 28th to March 4th in the quarterfinal rounds for this league, and that will be coming up starting next week. So stay tuned for the results on that if I am able to have them. But yeah, let's move on now to the other playoff divisions. What has been happening. So in the Winnipeg Free Press division, I'm taking a look at it here. So yeah, the quarterfinals have already happened in this league. They had no qualifying rounds. So let's take a look at it. The number 1 team in the league, the Sanford Sabres, winning 7-0 today over the CPET Canadians. So College Pierre Elliott Trudeau. Game 2 will be happening on March 1st. So the team's having a bit of a break between game 1 to game 2 in that series. In the quarterfinals, in the 2 versus 7 matchup, the Garden City Gophers won 4-0 over the Shaftesbury Titans on Tuesday, but then Shaftesbury not going down without a fight. The series now tied at 1 apiece as they were able to win yesterday 1-0 to keep their season alive. Could the upset happen? Well, we'll have to find out after tomorrow, as that's when game 3 of that series will be played at the Seven Oaks Sportsplex. The 3 versus 6 series has not been reported on scores yet. Game 1 in that series went today. These teams will not be playing again after this, after the game they had today until March 2nd. So coming up next week, but it's the St. John's Ravenscourt Eagles taking on the Sturgeon Heights Huskies. Of course, SJR finishing as the 3rd place team in the Winnipeg Free Press division in this league, and Sturgeon Heights finishing as the number 6 seeded team. The 4 versus 5 series, the PCI Saints ended up winning against the FRC Centurions 2-1 yesterday. Next game will be going on February 28th for that series. Now let's get to one more playoff division here. In the Winnipeg Women's High School Hockey League. And it is the high marketing division. So no qualifying games, no qualifying series in this league. And we'll take a look here and look at what's been going on. So the number 2 team versus the number 7 team, the Murdoch McKay team, the number 2 team, going up against the Springfield Sabres. Their first game was played today at 4 p.m. The score has not come in on that yet. Game 2 will be going on March 1st at 4 p.m. at the Oak Bank Arena. The 3 versus 6 series, it was the Lorette Scorpions, the number 3 seeded team, winning 3-2 over the Westwood Warriors. The next game will be coming up on February 28th for that series at 3 p.m. at Allard Arena in Westwood's home rink. It was the number 4 versus number 5 series starting off today as well. I don't believe they played in the AM, but this league has it like that. I believe this game was probably played at 4 p.m., but it was the number 4 team, the WKC Wolverines, winning 6-2 over the Dakota Lancers. Next game is supposed to be set to be played at Southdale Arena at 4:15 a.m. I assume it's 4:15 p.m. You'd have to think. Pretty crazy, pretty wild if this game does happen in the AM. No, I kid. It's probably just a website error, but it's the Dakota Lancers. They'll be at home for that game against WKC, and they'll be looking to extend their season, looking for a win in that one. And Glen Lawn, the Lions, they are the number 1 team looking at it. So they will be awaiting the lowest ranked team to move on from the quarterfinals, as they will be playing in their semifinal matchup. So moving into one more league to talk about now, the Manitoba U18 Hockey League. And I'm going to change up my background here, and then we can get started. So, oh, I lost it. My apologies, folks. So I'm just going to take a look here before I show you guys what the schedule is looking like in this league. I guess I'll show you guys the standings first, actually. That would make more sense to do. But let's take a look. Okay, so all I'm going to do is, I'm going to have reports for you guys on this league more in depth next week. I'm just going to show you guys the standings in the league right now. So it's the Brandon Wheat Kings team with a 32-4-3 record at this point in the season, the number one team in the league, only up by 2 points over the Winnipeg Wild, who are 31-4-3 on the season. The Wild, as you can see here, have one game in hand on Brandon. So it will be interesting to see what happens in terms of who will finish as the first place team in this league. The Eastman Selects are the third place team in the league, who are tied with the Winnipeg Wild, but they have 2 more games played for that second place spot. And then after that, there is quite a bit of a drop off. So Brandon, the Wild, and the Eastman Selects, the Brandon Wheat Kings, the Winnipeg Wild, and Eastman Selects are definitely the top dogs in this league. Just looking at the difference in the point totals here for them on the season, but it's the Yellowhead Chiefs who are in 4th place with 43 points. Right behind them by only 2 points behind is the Parkland team with 41 points. Then it's the Winnipeg Bruins, only 1 point behind Parkland, 2 points away from surpassing them in the standings with 40 points on the season. The Winnipeg Thrashers with 39 points on the season. They are in 6th place. They are 1 point back from tying Brandon. Southwest tied with the Thrashers as well, the Winnipeg Thrashers with 39 points. And then there's a bit of a drop off after that with the Pembina Valley Hawks team with 32 points. And then there's even more of a drop off after that from the Pembina Valley Hawks and the Norman team, as Norman has 22 points on the season. And Interlake is the team who has 20 points on the season with 40 games played. And I don't see the Kenora team in there anymore, so I'm not too sure what happened to them, but I'll have those updates for you guys coming up next Tuesday here on League Report. So that is going to do it for this edition of League Report, folks. Going to be updating you guys on all of those leagues, what's been happening coming up next week on Tuesday here on Coffee with Graeme. So we're going to head to one more commercial break here, folks. Coming up, I'm going to sign off here on this edition of Coffee with Graeme and give you guys some final words for this edition of the show. You're watching Coffee with Graeme on ASTV Productions. Stick around for some final words after this commercial break. Welcome back to Coffee with Graeme on ASTV Productions. Of course, just got done doing tonight's edition of League Report. Hopefully everyone has had a good time watching tonight's episode. If you did enjoy tonight's edition of Coffee with Graeme, be sure to leave it a like or a reaction. That always it is nice to see if when our viewers do that. So I want to thank the viewers who do that for doing that. And if you don't want to leave it a like or a reaction, whatever streaming platform you're watching it on, be sure to share it, because the more we can get the word out there about this show and all of our other shows here on ASTV Productions, the better that is for not only ASTV Productions in terms of how we're growing as a company, but as well as the teams that we feature here on our shows. I want to give a special thanks to the guests who joined tonight's edition of Coffee with Graeme as well, in Erica Fijala, number 6, defenseman of the Pembina Valley Hawks U18 AAA female team in the MMJHL, on the Hawks report this week, as well as Hailey Hojnocki of the Pilot-Mound Hockey-Academy U18 prep female Buffaloes. Special thanks to them for joining tonight's show. Also, a special thanks to you, the viewer, for tuning into tonight's edition of Coffee with Graeme as well. And a special thanks to the sponsors of Coffee with Graeme in AETi, Caisse Financial Group, Evolve Green, Pilot-Mound Hockey-Academy, and Toby Hockey for sponsoring another edition of the show. Hoping to have Natasha Wierzbicki on next Thursday's edition of Coffee with Graeme. Ran into some technical difficulties with her tonight, and also hoping to have Liam Tatuni and Landon May of the U15 Prep Male Buffaloes on next Thursday's show as well. So it could be a very loaded Pilot-Mound Hockey Academy interview list coming up next Thursday, but we'll have to wait and see what happens there. Coffee with Graeme will be coming up next week on Tuesday, as I've mentioned here on the show. That's the next edition of League Report. When that will happen, that's when the next edition of League Report will happen. There we go. I said that a bit better. But yeah, next edition of Coffee with Graeme will be coming to you guys next live on Tuesday next week at 10 a.m. Central Time. You can catch it on our Facebook at ASTV Productions, on our Twitter as well at Amateur Sports TV, or you can catch it on our website at astvproductions.com. And stay tuned for the guest list as well for that episode, as we will be announcing the guests on our social media pages, on our Instagram at ASTV Productions, on our Facebook, and on our Twitter as well on Monday night. So yeah, that's going to do it for this edition of Coffee with Graeme. Of course, Seth Rock will be coming on next week's edition of Coffee with Graeme next Thursday for Seth's Inside Scoop. Wasn't able to get the big man on the show this week, but no worries. He will be returning next weekend coming up, as we will have some hockey games to talk about on Seth's Inside Scoop. And speaking of hockey games, no hockey games on the network this weekend, but there will be some swimming meets for you guys to watch. So I think for the first time ever in ASTV Productions history, we will be broadcasting swimming. Myself, along with boss Glenn Munford, and owner of ASTV Productions, Glenn Munford, and our ASTV Productions crew will be at the Pan Am pool coming up this weekend, starting off tomorrow, as well as doing broadcasting for the swim meets on Saturday and Sunday as well at the Pan Am pool. Be sure to tune into that if you want to see something a bit different here on the network. That's coming up this weekend, of course. But yeah, that's going to do it for tonight's edition of Coffee with Graeme, everybody. I've been your host, Graeme Forsyth, signing off now on this Thursday night. Until next week, when I see you guys next on Tuesday morning, have a wonderful rest of your Thursday night. Have a wonderful and safe weekend as well. Stay safe on the roads out there. Stay warm as well. And until next week on Tuesday morning, everybody, signing off now and giving you the peace sign, Graeme Forsyth, host of Coffee with Graeme. Wishing you all a good night.